Kick him. You got to kick him under the table. You got to do all that stuff. Why do you think I'm sitting here?
I should have picked up on that.
Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Got it now. We're good. Let her check that mic. Are you recording yet or no? All right. Okay, welcome to our airport board meeting for February the 5th. I know we started just a little bit late here. I apologize. We're going to switch 1 and 2 around real quick. Our Honorable Danny Lee, our mayor, is going to do our prayer. Julius, you do the American flag for us? And I'll do the Texas flag myself. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas flag. Honor
the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. To my very far right, your very far left, is Julius Buckley, our city council representative, city council member, and mayor pro tem. To his left is Juanita, our awesome city secretary. To my immediate left is our new member, Al Cabrera. And to his left is, obviously, Greg Model. And next to him is another new member, Jake Litwin. And we are missing Eddie and Greg tonight. Greg might show up a little bit late. No public comments. We're on number 4. We have 2 new members. As I mentioned, Al and Jake, and I'll just let them introduce themselves to you real quick. Just to make sure to remind y'all, green means on the mics, green means that it is off. When the light is off, that means the mic is on. Try to be a little close to it where we can talk clearly. All of these are televised, so if you don't, they won't be able to see it in the YouTube land. Al, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself for us.
Is it okay if I stand up? You can hear me? Because I know myself on computers and electronics. It's going to mess it all up. Thank you. So my name is Alberto Cabrera. I'm married, 4 children. What brings me to aviation is that's all I've ever wanted to do. I've been flying since 1991. I graduated from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University with an aeronautical science degree with a double minor in aircraft crash investigations and aviation weather. And then flew for 10 years as an airline pilot, left United, flying the 737, personal reasons. And then because I had joined together, started my military career right after 9/11. I joined the U.S. Army Special Forces, and then, which I'm still a member of after, 23 years, or 20, whatever it is. So I flew for 10 years, left, joined the city of Houston as a police officer, currently a supervisor, sergeant. During those 16, 17 years there, I've been in multiple positions, from patrol to tactical units, criminal intelligence division, doing anti-terrorism work. During that work, I hope that helps me understand better city work and city politics, in the sense that I did work with many outside agencies. I was privileged to do that at the federal, state level, and local level, multiple counties. So I know how that works, and how to be patient, and how to really rely on good people to get the best advice, which is what I intend to do here. And I will be following. If I ask questions, it's just because I really want to learn from you, so I can figure out how I can be the best value added to the board. In the military, was a member in teams, which means I was in direct combat operations, 8 deployments in both Iraq and Afghanistan. Had the privilege to work with incredible men. No offense, there's just no women in special operations there. And also worked with multiple international ministries and agencies of every letter designation, doing that. So here I am. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I hope my learning curve is going to be steep, and I'm going to count deeply on each and every one of you, so I can do the best I can. And I really believe in Cleveland Airport. I really do. I love it. It's a phenomenal airport. We have incredible tenants, and hopefully I can put my 2 cents worth to make it even better. So
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate that. Jake.
Let's see. I got to follow that, huh? All right. Well, I'm Jake Litwin. I've been a citizen of Cleveland now for about, 5 years. And also served 5 years in special operations, 6 deployments to both Iraq and Afghanistan. And don't have any aviation background, just excited to be here and learn, and hopefully I can help out where I can help out. So
Good deal.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And, just to let everybody know, I know that the city, I obviously, as everyone's very well aware, I deal with the city in all kinds of aspects. And our boards, we do like diversity, and the mayor and city council likes diversity. And so we like having, even if it's an airport board, we like having some, members from our community on that airport board to give it that diversity also. Number 5, reports and comments from board members. Let's start. I'm sure Jake obviously is new, but do you have anything, Jake? Nope. Greg, you got anything for us?
No, not at this time.
Al, anything?
I have nothing to
Nothing, nothing from anyone. What about Juanita? Juanita, you got anything? Okay. Only thing I got is just, we have a lot going on, obviously, at the airport and throughout the city. I believe at the currently we have great relationships all the way around between EDC, City Council, the airport, and as you'll see tonight, we have some things that we will be discussing as we're going. And really, I think that's about it. We are going to get back on task on our airport board meetings, a consistent airport board meeting each month. We also are kind of discussed on doing some updates. If we don't have a lot on the agenda, I kind of just want everybody's opinion. If we don't have a lot to put on the agenda and actually discuss and talk about, could we just do some updates individually? Would y'all be okay with that, or you want to make sure we have a meeting every month? I mean, if there's not a lot going on, then what do y'all think? What's your thoughts?
I think should be hot.
Yeah, it is. You're on. If the light is off, it is on.
I'm in favor of meeting for myself. I just think a lot of times conversations that I may not necessarily be aware of the topic is very informative to me, perhaps in other things. So a conversation, say, you and Al have, might give me some context for something else that I would want to discuss in the context of the board. So I'm in favor personally of regularly meeting so that we can have those kinds of conversations and discussions.
Anybody else have an opinion? Everybody good either way? Well, we'll continue.
Say I'm good either way, whatever y'all decide y'all want to do.
Well, let's just go scheduling. Currently, we obviously on the first Thursday every month at 5 o'clock. Everybody's good with that? Yep. So we'll just continue staying with this each month, and we will get on track where we're scheduling it every single month. Number 6, consideration possible action. Approve minutes from November 7th. That was the last airport board meeting. I don't know if y'all had a chance to go through them. At least it's going to basically be Julius or we did make a few corrections on it, I think, already, and it looks all accurate to me. Need a motion.
Make a motion, we approve item 6.
A second?
I got a motion by Julius Buckley and a second by Greg Model. Any other discussion, questions? All in favor to approve the minutes from November 7th airport meeting?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Discussion and possible action on the following. Number 7 is selection chair for new term. Basically this year, we need to, each year we're selecting a new, or say new, I'll redo it if y'all want me to do it, whatever you want to do, another term for the chairman. And go ahead, I'm sorry.
Council-wise, I would like for it to stay the same, if everybody's comfortable with that.
Everybody good with that?
Yep.
So we just need a motion to continue the same.
Make a motion to keep John as the president of the airport board, or chairman of the airport board.
I have a second?
Y'all can speak up, you can say second. All you gotta say is second.
Yeah, all you do is say it's just second. No, just whoever seconds it. And I'll explain that in just a second. Okay, so I have a motion by Julius Buckley and a second to keep myself as the current chairman of the airport board. Any other discussion, consideration? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Just to let y'all know real quick, just for the ones that don't know. So when we do have something that we are voting on, typically the consideration, possible action, discussion and possible action, those are the points on the agenda that there is sometimes time when we're taking action, that's where it's going to be. If we need to take action on something, or if we need to table something, whatever it is. That being said, somebody will make a motion to, like this, to approve the chairman position. Somebody then will second it. Then technically we're supposed to open it back up for discussion. After it's, we have a motion and a second, then we open it up for discussion. And so typically, even though you might have a little bit of discussion prior to it, we still have to have discussion after the motion and the second, and then we do a vote. And don't hesitate to make a motion to, whatever we're doing. And remember, no such thing as a dumb question. If you have any questions whatsoever, let us know. Number 8 is airport operations update. We got a lot going on at the airport. As y'all are aware, I think most of y'all are aware, Dickie is no longer with us. His last day was last Monday. And we sent out the new position several weeks ago. We had several people, I think 7 total, if I'm not mistaken, that actually put in for it. 5 or 7, I forget. Yeah. Well, yeah, it actually was more than that. That was the ones that we actually looked at, qualified for it, yes. We did interviews on this. Last week, Eddie Lowry here. Sure, he's wanting to know if he can come in and get here. Eddie, I called him just to make sure to remind him, and he was chasing cows through his pasture that got out. He was like, I was on my way, now I'm having to chase cows. So we did interviews last week, myself, Scott, and Angela, our human HR director. And we got that, obviously, Scott chose a airport director, and she is here. I've asked her to come introduce herself to us, tell us about herself, all that good stuff, so we can meet, or y'all can meet our new airport director. And her name is Erin Gordon. Miss Gordon, come on up. Right here. I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. And then when you come up also at the podium, if you don't mind, just give us your name and city that you live in.
All right, hello everybody. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Erin Gordon. I hail from Houston, Texas. Before that, I hail from a little town called Vacherie, Louisiana. I am the wife of 1, mother of 3, and I'm just super excited to be here. I'm coming from Bush Intercontinental Airport. I'm currently a supervisor there on the operations team. I've been there 3 years, 3 short years, but pretty compact. I've had 3 promotions in 3 years. Very proud of that. I've gained several certifications while were there. Previously, I was a flight attendant for Atlas Air. I decided to start my family, so I wanted my boots or heels on the ground instead of in the air. And then I got into airport operations. So just super excited to be here. Looking forward to, just working with you guys to make Cleveland Municipal the best that this airport can be. I have so many visions and plans for it. It's kind of a blank slate, and I'm just super excited to get started. John and Scott, they might have to pull back the reins on me a little bit, but, we're going to work together and make it the best that we possibly can. So, thank you to Mr. Danny Lee. Thank you so much for your warm welcome and everyone, all these, warm faces. I just look forward to meeting and learning a little bit about each of you guys. So thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
She will hit the ground running. I think the 18th, February 18th is your first day, is that right? So she will hit the ground running on February 18th. Any questions or anything? No? Also, I like thanking Public Works. I meant to do that earlier. If y'all don't know, Roger, sitting over there all by himself, Roger Brooks, he is our Public Works Director. And he does all of our, keeps all of our stuff going all over the city, but specifically at the airport. He does all of our maintenance, all of our upkeep, landscaping, grass. He takes care of, his team anyways, takes care of all of that. If we have any real issues out there that we need him for, he makes time to come out there day or night. And we do appreciate that and appreciate his team and everything he does. The airport looks great, works great. Obviously, certain issues on, doors and stuff like that, we have another service that does that. And, so when you go to one of the customer service reps or Aaron out there, they figure out who to call, if it's going to be Roger's team or if it's going to be one of our contractors. But we appreciate everything they do. Airport layout plan is B. You want to give us an update on that? Scott Swaggart is our city manager. He's going to give us an update on our airport layout plan.
Okay, so the airport layout plan, The RFQ has gone out and has closed, and so January 31st, it closed. TxDOT is collecting all those. They will be gathering them and then sending them to us to review. We have appointed a selection committee that will review those RFQs, and then we will return our recommendation back to TxDOT for them and for their consideration, and then we'll move forward with that. But the good news is we're done. We're moving forward, and you know, I'm hoping that in the next couple of months we'll have that contract done and we can actually start with the plan design itself. So that's on the layout plan. Can we go to Hangar L?
Any questions on the layout plan at all? And for y'all that don't know, Mr. Model, Greg Model, had a very long and distinguishing career working for the FAA. He was there for how many years, was it, Greg? 39 years. And he was all the boss's boss. So he was the big wig. And so he is very familiar with the FAA and its inner workings.
Some aspects.
Yeah, well, he's being modest. It's a lot of aspects, I promise. I go to him quite often when we have things come up, and usually we can usually figure it out pretty quickly. And so just to let y'all know, he's for the ones that don't know Greg on here, he is very, very knowledgeable. Probably, I'd venture to say, as far as the FAA is concerned. I know I'm going out there, but he's probably the most knowledgeable on our airport, in my opinion, for sure. But Hangar L, you want to give that while you're up there?
Sure. So I guess in December, we were approached about Hangar L, which is actually a hangar that is in Sugar Land at the Sugar Land Municipal Airport. They were having to remove this hangar, and so we were presented the opportunity for purchasing the hangar. And so we quickly jumped on the opportunity, since we are definitely short hangar space at the airport. EDC and the city got together. We worked diligently and as quickly as we possibly could to move this forward. And so we have contracted the purchase of Hangar L, is what we're calling it. It'll be the next hangar at the complex. And it's 100 by 100 hangar space with a 2,000 square foot side wing to it. And so they will be taking it down, relocating it to the Cleveland Airport. The contractors that's doing that will have the concrete design, foundation design done, and then we will bid out the concrete slab, and then we're also working right now trying to get proposals for like the civil engineering and so forth to go around this facility. But we have contracted with the vendor to do that. We are also, as of today, it should be in the paper. Is it in? I haven't seen the paper. So it is online, and it's also supposed to be published in the paper today.
It is. It's in the paper.
Okay. It's in the paper today, so we can start recruiting. So we're looking for proposals for this hangar. It's currently being bought and placed on EDC property, but once it is completely built and ready, then the airport will purchase the hangar and the property, and we'll work an agreement with EDC to buy the hangar and the property from them, and then we will start to utilize it. So right now, we're in the process of looking for a proposal for somebody to use it. And so again, 100 by 100 hangar with 2,000 square feet side space. We are going to maintain, I think, a 20 by 20 section of that side of the 2,000 square feet for us to use for storage. We don't have a storage facility, and we at that location, so we need a place to put our utility vehicle in, put gas and whatever else that we have that we needed storage, because they're trying to shove stuff into anything we can in the office right now. It just doesn't need to be there. Of course, we had no place to park the utility vehicle, so this will be a place that we'll be able to store that. So really, you've got about 1,200 square feet or so, 1,600 square feet of that office space that you can utilize, and then of course the 100 by 100. So we're looking at, it could be somebody that wants to put a school in there, maybe a shop of some, an aviation mechanic shop or something. It could be, somebody wants to rent it for their own corporate jets, or company to put on there for their planes to be stored there. Somebody may want to come in and use it as a VIP service and do like a gang hanger, and provide the services, the VIP services out at the airport. Anyway, we're just looking for what those proposals and options would be for that. And then we will evaluate those, and then make the best choice on what the use for that hangar will be. If we don't get a proposals, which we are all hoping we will, but if we don't, the last resort would be that the city would end up taking that and running it, and we would run it as a group gang hangar at that point, and we would rent space off into that facility. But I really believe that we're going to get proposals for this hangar at that location. And so
Real quick, if you want to go to the pictures of the completed package, can you go back on the pictures to where they're the full complete hangar? Oh, okay. Well, so basically these pictures is they're dismantling it. That's what they're doing currently. These pictures are actually current as of yesterday. So when we went out and looked at this, it was a completed hangar. The people had just moved out on it. It was in the RPZ. It was the whole issue with it. For y'all that don't know, it's a runway protection zone. The FAA had declared it in the RPZ, and it ordered it to be taken down. And so Sugar Land obviously took advantage of it, and they had to take it down anyways and to sell it. In our purchase agreement with them, they are going to repaint all the red iron on the inside, all brand new insulation, new roof sheets, and going to repaint the exterior, all the exterior of the building also. And obviously, we'll be able to choose the colors on the exterior. The red iron is going to be painted red iron, I'm sure. And then exterior colors, I'm assuming, I shouldn't, but I'm assuming we're going to do it the same as all the new hangars out there now, just to stay in uniformity with our current colors, I'm assuming. Our new airport director can figure all that out, I'm sure. Give her a task. Pink, yeah.
maybe not. Maybe
Got
not.
jokes, maybe not. Maybe we will do that a different way.
She is on probation, right?
Touche. Good one, Greg. That was good. And then if you go through the pictures real quick, Emilio, keep going. I think next one. Yep, the picture on the left there, as we're viewing it, same up there. That corner right there is what we were thinking. That's going to be the rear corner, and we would wall this corner off on the 20 by. It's going to be probably the way that's divided up. It's probably going to be around whatever space we need there, 20 by 20, 20 by 25, whatever space that the airport's going to need there for what they're going to use, and we'll do an exterior walk door and an exterior roll-up door. So the airport staff won't have to go inside the big hangar. They can enter and exit through the exterior walls of the hangar to where they're not going through other people's space, obviously. And we're going to do, obviously, we're planning on doing septic out there at the airport. We don't have sewers, so we're going to do a septic system, water, obviously, electric. And then hangars, I don't remember offhand, but the three newest hangars or four newest hangars out there, three of them actually have water and sewer ran to them. The sewer's stubbed out on the far, come on in, Eddie, no, you come on right up here. You don't get to sit over there. That's not how this works. Yeah, I told everybody you were too busy at dinner for us and that you had to get done with your dinner before you got here. So anyways, that made me forget where I was at. So the stub outs are there for the sewer on the three new hangars. And the stub outs are on the far east side of those hangars. And so we're going to also look at possibly doing some restrooms. That's one thing we don't have enough of at our airport is restrooms, as y'all are very well aware. So we're going to look at doing some restrooms over there also. Any questions on Hangar L?
Well, and with that is we're, looking at putting a septic system out there to be able to handle this hangar for the restrooms and so forth. The last 3-4 hangars, I guess,
Yes.
that was built out there have been stubbed out for bathrooms, but no bathrooms have ever been installed, and there's no sewer. It's just been stubbed. So we're going to be looking at the three.
No, the fourth one doesn't. It's just, yeah, no, the fourth one doesn't. It's just those three. The
Just
three,
those three,
the
okay.
three newest ones. The fourth one, if y'all remember, is the one that was purchased from Porter, Williams Airport, Porter, whatever you want to call it, and it was brought over. That's the very furthest one on the south end of the ramp area. That one does not. It's not ran. Just the other three are ran for sewer.
But we're going to look at sizing the septic system to be able to handle all that, so that we'd be able to tie those in and then be able to finish those out, those restrooms out, to be able to add that amenity to those hangars as well.
Yes. Anybody have any questions or anything on Hangar L? Nope. Hangar Q. I can do it either way. The Hangar Q is the Quonset hut hangar, if y'all are familiar with it. The Quonset hut's the first hangar that when you come into the airport to the right. If you remember, we did several months ago, what's it called? I just went blank. RFP on it to tear it down after it was deemed unsafe. So we did an RFP on it, and a medical company chose to tear that down and rebuild it to a corporate hangar. And we have since done all the legal contracts on that. The legal contracts have been sent to them, and they're in the process. They're going over it with their attorneys, and we're just waiting on them to send the contracts back to us. And they plan on moving forward with it just as soon as they can get that done. And so the old Quonset hut will be torn down. 100 by 100 hangar will be put up there, and it'll be a corporate hangar that will go there in its place. Pretty simple. Any other questions on any of that? Everybody good? Nothing? Nope. What about Ms. Gordon? Do you have any questions on any of that? As long as it's not pink. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Any other questions on any of the airport operations updates whatsoever? Chuck, it's nice to see you, by the way. Chuck Thompson. He is our, just to introduce some people, he is our representative on our EDC. He's actually our treasurer for EDC. And he likes showing up at all kinds of events. And he's also the incoming chair for Leadership East Texas. He's also, I believe, treasurer for Lions Club. He's just on all kinds of boards. and I have nominated him on a few of these boards. Greg, go ahead.
You were asking if there was any questions or comments on the airport update section. So first of all, I wanted to welcome Aaron. Nice to meet you. Looking forward to working with you both as a pilot tenant at the airport as well as on the board itself. So welcome. Good to meet you. I do have a question is there's some really important projects that, Dickey was doing that are not yet complete. Good progress was being made, and I just was wanting to know how that transition or handoff, I guess, was being made, that whether it's going to be a discussion, I would assume, Scott, at your level and the city's offices, but certainly from a member of the board perspective, it's real important that I'd like to see the momentum continue. RNAV GPS approach to runway 34 is one that comes to mind, certainly the training traffic, which is the next topic, and a couple of other things too that I know has a lot of interest in the airport community out there. And so I just wanted to, ask about how that transition was going to go, assuming that there was a transition. I'm sure there is.
So Monday was Dickey's last day, and yes, that's a good question, very good question. Scott obviously went out and met with Dickey, and then myself also. We sat down with Dickey Monday morning, bright and early, and went over a lot of that kind of stuff. And so that is going to not only be given to Aaron, but also Dickey has agreed to graciously come back and kind of show Aaron all the ropes, go over all of the current situations we have going on. Obviously, we have a little bit of a benefit with Aaron since she's very familiar with airport systems. And I do know that actually all we're waiting on the RNAV 3.4 for RNAV for 3.4 is the FAA, where it's actually Dickey, I think, is expecting it pretty quick, right around the corner. It kind of sounded like. And then all of the other ongoing projects, obviously the layout plan you're aware of, but Dickey was instrumental in getting our airport into compliance. I was giving him a hard time Monday because he did all the hard work and got everything in compliance, everything working right. Got the jet fuel going, and I need to give an update on that too. And got all that going, and then he has decided to go on to other places because I felt like he got all the hard work done. But yes, so we have sat down with him, and he is going to come out and kind of show Aaron all the ropes and turn everything over to her. And he made it very clear that he'll do as much as we need him to do still on giving her everything she needs.
Well, one of the
Scott?
things, those of you that know Dickey, he was very meticulous, and I mean, he had a notebook for everything. He's got come back from that military background. He's got everything organized, and so you can walk in, Aaron's going to be able to walk in and go and pull the notebook off the shelf, and everything's going to be right there. It's also on the computer, and it's also on the hard drive. He's got it all lined up. So, but he has agreed, like John has said, to come back out and help us with that transition. And of course, he's still here, and so he's available whenever needed for questions and stuff like that as well. So,
And we went over a lot of different things with him because the one huge thing we had with Dickey also is he did a lot of stuff out there himself. He fixed a lot of things himself, and the lights, runway lights, there's a lot of things. Right now we currently, if you look at our NOTAMs, we currently have a NOTAM out for a PAPI, the runway coming in on 3.4, one of our PAPI lights is out, VOSI lights, whatever. One of our VOSI lights is out. That is not just a light bulb to go replace. There's more to that one on replacing it, and he was waiting on the board for that. I think there was a circuit board for that one, wasn't it? I believe. But he did a lot of that stuff himself. And then other lights are under warranty still, some aren't, that kind of thing. So she's going to be thrown into the mix for that. Obviously, we have Public Works at our disposal on anything we need. So yeah, I think we're going to be, a good question, Greg, very good question. I'm glad you
one of
asked
the things
that.
that we've talked about too with Roger and his crew is that we were waiting for Aaron to get here, but when Dickie comes and shows Aaron all the stuff about the runway lights and all the different things that we can bring Public Works out there on the maintenance side of it so that they can learn some of those aspects as well. But we didn't want to do it with Public Works and then do it again with Aaron. So we said, well, let's just wait and do that one of the times that he's back to help, and then show Aaron as well as the Public Works guys that work out there, all the different aspects of it, so.
Well, as you know, and it's true in a lot of organizations, I know Aaron knows, working for HAS, this is the truth. A lot of it's based on relationships, right? You get things done because you've gotten to know people and you've gotten agreements from them, and there's that one-on-one or even group-to-group commitments that happen. And I will tell you, on the RNAV GPS 3.4 approach, I tried to work on that while I was still working for the FA and had no success. So I was actually pretty impressed that there had been significant progress, because there had been some changes there at the FA into that at the regional office. And so I was very hopeful that that would have some traction and get moving pretty good. So I was really kind of tuned into that one, having had some frustrations with that before I retired.
Well,
so,
and one of the things that Aaron doesn't know, but she will. Dickie's already registered for, I think we got the TxDOT Aviation Conference coming up and some other conferences that we have annually. He was registered for that, and so Erin, when she gets here, she'll have to go in and change those reservations into her name, but that's exactly where Dickie went to get off his contacts and for vendors and his relationships that he was able to build with the TxDOT Aviation as well as the FAA groups. And so that's
sounds like he's got a book for that, so that's good to hear.
and he does.
Yeah.
And he
he's got a
does,
book for
trust
that
me.
too, so.
That's really
Trust me, he's got a book for everything.
Well, I
Go
have,
ahead.
I'm
No,
sorry, while I have
absolutely.
the mic.
Go ahead.
So there's another suggestion. I had made this when I remember this was sort of a gap in my transition to the board when I was first appointed to this position. And I want to bring it up with two new folks, and of course Aaron joining, the role of the board. Just kind of having a discussion, not necessarily tonight, but at some point in the near future, just to, what is the role here with the city and the kinds of issues we'll be dealing with, just sort of a indoctrination.
Well, and while we have the
type
city
of
manager
discussion.
standing here, he can sure run that down to us real quick.
I don't mean to put anybody on the spot. I'm just saying, I think that'd be a really good conversation and a refresher for me and the rest of us too. So.
I mean, this is an advisory board, so
Yeah.
every decision, is done at the director, my level, or the council, depending on what level of the authority is done. But this is definitely a board that we want y'all have input on different things, so y'all are able to provide us feedback and input of things that need to be improved, things that we need to be looked at, and different opportunities that we might have as an advisory board to the city and to the council for those recommendations. And so it could be anything that, that y'all might bring up or whatever that y'all can consider, talk about, and then make a recommendation to either, the director, myself, or to the council. But yes, this is an advisory board.
Thank you.
No decision-making at this level.
Right. So we don't direct any work.
Y'all don't,
I know that our current administration, obviously, they try to, they definitely take our opinions in consideration, and I think our current situation in this city is that we're pretty much all on the same page, I feel like, and that if we are making a recommendation, it's going to have to be something way out there that the city doesn't go forward with. But it's going to be two-sided. There's, we do our side, that we come up with stuff on our own, as we're fixing to right now, and then that we need to bring up as the board. And Erin is going to come up with things that she wants us to address also as a board. So it's on both sides. We're an advisory board, but they can ask us to give them advice on whatever topics they choose. And then at the same time, we can bring our own also. So each month, if you have something that you want on the agenda, please let me know. And if there's something that comes up you want to put on the agenda, we will sure get it thrown on there. And then on top of that, this is a board that our bylaws are clear that we do have a city council representative on this board. Prior to in the last several months, we worked on our bylaws for this board, and just to let Al and Jake know, we wanted to make the city council representative a voting member. And the reason we did that, and he wasn't, I'll be honest, Julius wasn't really for it, but the reason we did that is we wanted him to have skin in the game on his votes. And, you know, if he's voting for it or against it with us, and we're all on the same page, then that's going to make it a lot easier to get it through city council, through the city manager's office. It's going to make it easier if he's involved, if our city council representative is involved in the votes, essentially, just, you know, just for a little bit of context.
Also, with all the information that y'all have, most of us on city council have no aviation experience at all. So the more information we're able to get from y'all that have aviation experience on stuff y'all want to do or add to it is a lot more helpful for me to explain on why we need to do it to council. So I do appreciate the information I do get from here, because I have learned quite a bit since being on this board that I had
Good
no
and
idea
bad.
about.
I think that pretty much address it.
Yeah, that does, thank you.
Yeah. I also gave you, the two new members, I gave them, our current, basically rules and regs for the, airport board, or for the airport, not for the airport board, for the airport. Just something for you to go over and look at, that kind of thing. I also meant to give an update on fuel sales, November of '24. You know, we had our last meeting, obviously, November 7th. But our November fuel sales was 3,691 and a half. 3,691.5 gallons of avgas, 658.1 gallons of jet fuel. December of 2024 was 2,744.6 gallons of avgas and 32.4 gallons of jet fuel. Very low month for jet fuel for December. And then January was 3,006.5 gallons of avgas. That's 3,006.5. And 1,521.1 gallons of jet fuel. So other than December, our jet fuel just seems like it keeps going up. That is obviously without a truck. We still don't, obviously, as y'all are well aware, that we don't have a fuel truck as of yet. I think that was brought up by Aaron also. So we'll see where all that goes. Any other questions on airport operations update? Anything at all?
I'll bring a couple
If you don't mind. Guys, and remember that this is all recorded and it's on TV, so that's why we really need to use these mics. We've gotten a couple of complaints lately that, you know, you got to turn it way up to hear anybody unless they're talking on the mic. But they've worked on that a little bit on their end today on recording it all. But so we got to use our mics. Green is off. When the light's on green, that's off. When the light is off, it is on. Al?
Greg, thanks a lot for bringing that up, and now I understand a little bit more. So it's an advisory in nature, and just we can bring up anything. Some of the original thoughts on top of what we have already talked about that I've noticed as a pilot tenant at the airport is they sound simple, but it's significant. Because I fly instrument conditions often. It's approach lights to the approaches that we have. So I know RNAV to 3-4 is coming and is known as a non-precision approach. So there are lighting systems that I was looking at that could that will significantly increase the safety into and arrivals into either one of the runways. And I'm also thinking past you talking about the jet fuel makes me, and the corporate aircraft coming on board onto the airport. Thinking in the future, I know that jet pilots significantly want to see, if possible, approach lighting when they come into instrument meteorology conditions into the airport. So I was looking at some, and I did see one particular system that seems to be one of the lowest priced. It's very simple. It only requires 1,500 feet from the runway end, and it's called ODALS, O-D-A-Ls. And I can find more information where I found that, John, if you'd like. But If we can consider approach lights to both sides of the runways, I think that would be incredible. At the same time, we have the FAA people coming in at the RNAV 3-4. I don't know if that would be difficult or easy since you do it pilot together and it's part of the approach system. So I don't know. The second issue is resurfacing some of the taxiways. They're kind of rough, you know. So I know the runway looks really nice. So I think it was not done that long ago. But maybe consider, just a suggestion, resurfacing some of the taxiways. And if we do that and paint it in the future, whenever that is, a year or 10 years from now, thinking about the new hangars, painting a middle yellow, usually line, showing where the center point of that hangar is, that would be great because a lot of us do it on our own, and some of us don't want to do it. We don't know if we can do it or not, but it sure helps when you're pushing the aircraft back in the hangar. So, in a lot of airports, you will see it already there. So the airport authority will actually automatically paint that yellow, so they all look uniform and standard, and they look really cool. So that's the other suggestion I have.
I'll give you a quick update on the striping that you're talking about. The city has their own striping machine, Public Works, and we had talked to them about doing some of that out there. And unfortunately, they've been just so swamped with it. But they're just so swamped with everything else. So that is something that we have talked about, not so much on the board, but that the city has talked about, because that's something Dickie had brought up also. So that is something that Aaron will be dealing with. It's on your list there. And then the other thing that's been brought up recently, and I'll be honest, is I fly quite a bit at night, and I can't really give you a real reason, but our beacon lights at night, I don't know if you've noticed or not, you don't see our beacon lights at night. You can see our runway lights at night really good. Those new LED lights really work. And one of our tenants, Fred, had mentioned it 2 or 3 times on our beacon light. I brought that up to Dickie. He was going to do some checking on it. I don't know where he was at on that. We can check and find out on our beacon light specifically. You can see our runway lights long before you ever see our beacon light, as you know. I think you and I talked about that. Yeah, you just don't even see our beacon light. Obviously the advantage of a beacon light, if you don't have runway lights, you're gonna be able to see that beacon light. So that was a conversation also on the beacon light.
And as you know, that's something pilots will talk about. So if the council is interested in increasing revenue eventually, or bringing in more jet traffic or professional traffic, when it comes to professional pilots, they truly want to have that safety, comfort, and they'll talk to, just like we all talk to each other, they'll go, whether it's, hey, that's really difficult to come in at night, go somewhere else to get gas. That's a conversation that is had in every FBO all the time. So once they say, hey, the lighting is phenomenal, the surfaces are great, in great condition, these are things that, word of mouth, they go out, like Greg was mentioning earlier about networking. That's how it is. And it should, or at least you would think it would bring more traffic, hopefully more fuel sales, that would help the city as a whole. I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship.
Awesome. Absolutely. Go ahead, Greg.
I did want to piggyback on one thing that Al just said about the lighting and, the striping or the painting on the taxiways. The hold short lines are very faded. And it's very noticeable when you have students and you're trying to point them out and they're having a hard time seeing them, particularly if the sun's in a certain way. So if there's a priority to be had of all the painting to be done, I would like, from a runway safety perspective, have that looked at.
Real quick so I know that Dickie was working on, the taxiways was one of the next projects to get redone. But we had talked about the restriping that you're talking about, not just the restriping on the approach ends and stuff, but that is, I agree with Greg, that needs to be a priority for sure, obviously landing an airplane. But also restriping all the taxiways and stuff also. And it got to a point that Public Works had suggested that we send that out and start getting some prices on it. We can check and see where Dickey was just because Public Works have been so busy. Or is that something you can look at least getting the approach ends that Greg is talking about?
Whole
Is
short lines, yeah.
hold short lines? Is that something that you could look at doing for us? Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. I bet Aaron's making all kinds of notes over there. Anything else on the updates? Eddie? You got anything, Eddie? No, sir. No? Okay, just checking. Okay, number 9 is training traffic. As everybody is well aware, we've had an ongoing situation on the training traffic. And so we wanted to get it back on here again. Greg?
So it's a topic we brought up before, so I don't really want to go into all the details again. And Aaron, I'd be happy to talk to you offline if the detail would be helpful for you. I just think we have, there's a community approach to be taken by the general aviation flight schools and airport directors at the nearby smaller airports like Cleveland, where a lot of these flight schools are traveling to for their training, which is really a good thing. You know, that means there's a lot of interest in pilots learning how to fly. But by the same token, if there's an imbalance where airports are being overloaded to the point where it's actually kind of scary sometimes, the number of volume at a non-towered, uncontrolled airport, and is that balanced between all the available airports that are out there, like Huntsville or Liberty or Navasota or some of those others? Is everybody ganging up's the wrong word, is everybody focused on getting to Cleveland and everything is there and everybody else isn't having that kind of a problem? Is there a balancing strategy that can be employed by the flight schools? Because if no one sits down and talks to them about it and no one brings it up to them, maybe they don't know that there are other options. And for us to have that collective conversation, I think, would be very helpful in coming up with a solution. And to me, that's the first step to take before we start talking about any more draconian measures that could be taken. I don't think that really needs to be in the conversation yet. I just think it's a matter of gathering people around a table and saying, we're having an issue here at Cleveland. Is anybody else having the issue? And are there solutions that all the stakeholders who are involved in this can contribute to some solution that would help everything? You know, again, I see it a lot as an instructor, and pilots do a great job talking to each other in the air. Okay, I'm going to come in behind you. Yes, I'll follow. I'll extend out. That all works when everybody's playing together well. But periodically, you'll have people that'll cut in line, and they won't have that same cooperative attitude. So it creates a safety issue, and I just think it's something that is worth addressing.
And just a little bit of history on this. We, myself and Dickey, 2 separate times, called some of the flight schools, and my opinion, Greg can expand on it for sure and give me his opinion, but I know that after I spoke to them, I felt like we definitely had flight schools that were more conscientious about how many were in our traffic pattern. We did notice a little bit of change, but that didn't last that long, in my opinion. And I'm not saying I'm right. Do you agree, Greg, pretty much?
Yes.
Yeah. And then Dickey, after it picked back up, had a conversation, and it seemed like it changed a little bit. Probably not as much, but it did seem like it changed a little bit. So I think Greg's idea is our next solution, that we, instead of making phone calls, that the next ones we make are to get them in a room together and kind of hash this out and see what can happen with with the main flight schools. And Aaron, we can give you a list of those. But so that, I think that's the next idea, is to get them all in a room together and figure out a way to fix the situation or help the situation. even though Huntsville, Liberty might not be seeing the problem we're having, as soon as we fix our situation at our airport, they got to go somewhere. So reality is the first place they're going to go is Huntsville. That's the very first place because they're closest to Huntsville from us anyways. Most of these flight schools are all at Conroe, Hooks, or Chenault. Chenault has their own airport, which is right there by Conroe. Literally, it's in their delta. So if they can't come to us, then the next place they're going to go is Huntsville. So Wade is the manager over at Huntsville. Phil is the manager at Liberty. And so I think the idea with Greg is, and I agree, is that if we could sit them down, if they would be willing to entertain being there also, because if they're not, they're just going to have the problem we're having. At least I would think so. Wouldn't you agree, Greg? Mm-hmm. That if they leave us, they got to go somewhere. And we don't want to go to having to charge landing fees. We don't want to have to get to that point. So we're trying our best to figure out a way to handle this in a collective way before anything has to get blown out of proportion. So.
Are they still buying fuel?
Yes.
I've got to say, it seems
Yes,
like
they
fuel
are.
sales were down a little bit more.
No, they are. Well, and you got to remember this time of year, certain pilots will take advantage of this time of year just for density, altitude, and everything else, and they'll fly. But it's cold. It's cold. You get up there, you think it's cold on the ground. Get on up there a little ways. I promise you, it's even colder. I am lucky enough and fortunate enough. I have some very good heaters in my airplanes, so I don't mind it. But there's a lot that don't, and you get up to whatever altitude, above 3,000 feet, it gets pretty cold. And the higher you get, the colder it gets. So typically in the winter, you're gonna see your fuel sales go down. If you looked at these months from last year, especially for November and December, they were way down there. I don't know exactly, and I can get the numbers, but I think they were less than 500. Yeah, I believe they were back then. They were low. So comparatively speaking, we sold a lot of fuel. And yes, Councilman Buckley is 100% correct that when we did talk to them, I say we, when Dickie spoke to them, that was one of his things is, hey, you're utilizing our airport. Come on, buy some fuel from us. They are buying fuel. And I know that for a fact. I flew in. In fact, Al and I were talking about this the other day. I flew in here a few Sundays ago, and when I fly in, I like stopping, filling up before I put my plane up. I'm just that guy that likes doing it when I come in instead of when I go out. And there was three training planes. ATP actually had 3 planes there lined up to get fuel, and they were there for a little while. So I got tired of waiting, and I went and put my plane up to go do it next time. But they were buying fuel. At the same time, even though they are buying fuel, we still have to be safe. Yeah, we still got to be safe. So I think Greg's idea on trying to get them all in a room together and see if we can help facilitate it that way might be a good idea. Al?
I just wanted to add, a lot of times, if you put them all together, they do this professionally. This is what they do. You'll have a chief pilot. He or she goes all over the managing his flight instructors, and which in turn manage the flight students. They will likely figure out by themselves how they need to do this. If they can the idea of putting them together is phenomenal because it gives them one time in one place to discuss it and come up with their own ideas, because they know where they're going, and if they have a certain amount of flights, a certain amount of days, and they know when they have the most flying, they know what season, what month, what week, what day of the week they're more busy, and they can manage themselves. Hey, we're going to have the chief pilot could be telling certain instructors, listen, you guys do some of your flying in Airport A, whether it's Huntsville, whether it's Liberty, whether it's us, and they can split themselves up, rather than us trying to manage how they or where they should go and when. I think, allow them to figure it out themselves, but we facilitate the time and place to do that, and we institute, hey, we have a need for you to figure this out.
And that being said, we've done this in chronological order. We did what, Shelley De Zavalis, I know we've spoke about her several times on this board. She's the guru of aviation anywhere around here, in my opinion. I think Greg would agree with that. And that was her suggestion, is us to go in steps. We took the first step. We reached out to them. It worked for a little while, quit working. Reached out to them. It worked for a little while, quit working. Now it's time to get them all in the same room together and see if we can take that next step. And I think everybody's on board with that. Yes, ma'am. Would you, I hate to ask this, Aaron. I really apologize. Would you mind coming up to the mic?
I just heard you say that previously the board was in opposition to landing fees. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
How so? Why so?
Yes, for a lot of reasons. One, that's a very last resort, literally. You can actually do landing fees for outside traffic of any kind, but you would have to, the one thing the FAA is very black and white about is being even across the board. So if you do landing fees, anybody that lands at the airport has to be charged a landing fee, not just training traffic. You can't differentiate that. You can keep your own tenants from having to pay landing fees, but anybody else will have to pay a landing fee. And the reality of this situation is that from a municipality standpoint, that's the last thing you want. You want land. You want them to come in and land. You want them to use your courtesy car. You want them to buy fuel. You want them to use that courtesy car, come into town, spend money on food or hotels or whatever it is. With this, any municipality, that's what they want. They want those people to come to our airport, visit our city, spend money, promote our airport. So you just don't want to charge landing fees. That is an absolute last resort. Realistically, landing fees have been proven time and time again on municipal general aviation airports that they don't make money. It's not a money generator, on our type of airports. I understand that HAS is a whole different situation. Myself and Greg do angel flights, and so when I go to Hobby or any airport, as well as Greg knows, there's certain FBOs you go to because they're going to waive all those fees because you're an angel flight or a Pilots for Patients. They're going to waive those fees for you, and you're not going to have to pay any. But if you don't, that is going to be very costly to land at Intercontinental or Hobby. Or at Ellington, actually. Ellington does too, but if you're a Pilots for Patients flight, they're going to waive those fees. But those are not those are, I think, Intercontinental's either a class 5 or 6. Yeah, and same with Hobby. We're a general aviation airport. Big difference. That's a spot that you want to totally avoid. And not ever charge landing fees. So communication is the key, as they say, to any relationship. And so we are going to continue. Our suggestion, I think, as the board, is to continue that communication and take a next step. With the previous board, we've never had a board that was on board on charging landing fees, I don't think. Have we, Greg? That's just not a place we want to go with it, for sure.
Yeah, that's way far down the line.
Yeah. Way far down the road. Did that kind of answer your question, Aaron? Awesome. Anything else on training traffic? Nope. All good. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I have a motion by Mr. Buckley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ed Lowry to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Yeah, I could not, you said it very well. It's like,